Hey, what's going on, Portal Masters? Robert Welkner here. I've been saying that for over 10 years, what it seems. I mean, for a lot of us, we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, but before the game was even released, I was checking it out and getting a preview of it and talking about it and writing about it, making videos before the game released. So for me, I'm celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the release, but it even feels like longer because of the lead up to it. I mean, when I first saw Skylanders was at E3. I got a promo figure in the mail from Activision saying, come to this booth, put it on the Portal of Power. We're gonna make this figure come to life. I had no idea that would be opening up a can of worms. And 10 years plus years later, I'm still talking about Skylanders. I'm still excited about it. Still have a lot of the figures in my collection. It's been a while since I played any games because we haven't had any new games for the last few years, but I feel like I've played each game over and over again so many times and made so many videos about it that I kind of, it's in my veins, my lifeblood, and pumping in my blood there. But yeah, so that's how I first saw or heard about Skylanders. I was already making videos on my YouTube channel, my website, CoinOpTV, for years and years. When I started, I was covering a lot of retro and arcade and pinball video game world champions, and then when the Toys to Life genre kind of kicked in with Skylanders, and then later Disney Infinity and Lego Dimensions, I started making a lot of videos about that and saw a big rise in my views, my subscriber base and comments, and it opened up a lot of doors for me to really meet a lot of people and go to a lot of events, and then later on be sent a lot of figures, so I didn't have to really chase around at Skylander hunting at midnight at Toys R Us, although I still went a lot even when the figures were out of sent to me, because we still had kind of the legendaries, the variants that I wanted to kind of chase down, and a lot of those traps also that are still floating out there in the wild. They're hard to get. So that's kind of how things kind of kicked off. When I first got the game, I was already a Spyro fan. I remember playing the old Spyro games back in the day, PlayStation. And those first three Spyro games were great, were legendary. It's nice that those have been remastered. If you haven't played those, play the remastered of the Spyro games there and check those out. So I was familiar with Spyro and some of the characters from that universe, and it was great to sort of see him as kind of the lead character going into a brand new video game franchise, and new elements with the Toys to Life, the Portal of Power, just the whole world and everything that we were exploring with the Skylanders and all the figures there. Stealth Elf, Gill Grunt, Eruptor, Boomer. Boomer was one of my go-tos on some of the harder levels when it came to being a little OP. He was a great one there. So a lot of fond memories of the first Skylanders game, and then to me they just got better and better as we went. And the last game, Skylanders Imaginators, was probably my favorite Skylander game of all time. So to see the franchise kind of on hold or paused or no longer happening at the moment is a little bit of a drag, but at the same time, hey, it was a very expensive hobby, expensive game to get into. Even though I was getting figures from Activision later, I was still spending a whole lot and cranking out videos there. It was great to do my Skylanders 101 series. That was one of the series that really got popular and sort of blew up viral on YouTube and other places. It was great to sort of break down and level up the figures and kind of talk about them. And then best of all, I got to read the comments that you Portal Masters were leaving about which directions you went as far as leveling up, and then sometimes I'd kind of reset my characters and rethink, oh yeah, maybe I should do that, or that looks like a better path to kind of choose. And a big highlight also was a few years after the game was released, I got to visit the Toys for Bob headquarters and really see the prototypes, the art, the different artwork on the walls, some figures that were never released or announced. A lot of things like that. That was a great joy to sort of see. I felt like a kid in the candy shop there, getting able to pull the curtain back and seeing how things went. And then of course, I got to meet some of the great development team there, Paul Ricci, Iwee, Jeff Poppenberger, Lou, of course. You know, I've interviewed Lou many a times on my channel. I've interviewed a lot of the developers on my YouTube channel over the years, and you know, it was just a fun experience because I was a fan of the games and I was a reporter, and there was no real friction. We were just sort of enjoying a great thing that was being, you know, executed and produced and put out by Activision, and all the teams involved, Vicarious Visions, Toys for Bob, Beanox. You know, big shout outs to all the developers, the writers, the artists there. I've got to meet a lot. And then, of course, I can't forget talking about how great it was meeting a lot of the voice actors, meeting the voice of Kaos, Richard, for the first time. I was very nervous. I was like, I can't interview him. I'm nervous. I mean, he's the voice of Invader Zim and all these other great cartoon classic characters, and here I am. I've got to do a quick little on-the-spot vlog interview holding my camera out at like Comic-Con or something, you know, in between walking from one thing to the next for him and stuff. And since then, I've actually met him a few times. So, you know, I feel like we've actually became friends a little bit. So if you ever get a chance to meet Richard, the voice of Kaos, Richard Orvich, at a convention or something, go up and say hi. Don't be nervous. Say hi, say you're a Portal Master or Invader Zim fan or something like that. He's great person to meet, and a lot of other voice actors out there. It's ironic that I actually have some personal friends that are in the game, so I've interviewed them as, you know, talking about, you know, characters like Tara Platt and stuff has been in the game, and, you know, then it was, of course, interesting to meet really famous voice actors like, you know, Kenny from the voice of SpongeBob, Bob. I got to meet him, and I was like, well, let's not really talk about SpongeBob here. Let's talk about being a voice in Skylanders, and just to see the reaction on his face, like Tom Kenny there reacting like, oh, you want to talk about SpongeBob? You want to talk about Skylanders? Okay, sure. Let's talk about some of those characters in that experience. So it was kind of interesting. Of course, you know, meeting and talking to the voice of Flynn there, Patrick Warburton there. That was an experience. That was a fun experience. I asked him about like if he had ever played the game, and he was like, no, not really. I mean, I'm familiar with it, but I mostly just kind of did the voice and, you know, Flynn there. And, you know, it was great to hear just, you know, I mean, that was the first and only time I ever met him. And it's when I interviewed him at an event years ago. So that was really great. And, you know, so yeah, as you can see from my face, it's been a fun ride, a fun experience. I wish, you know, Skylanders was still a thing. I feel like if there was a negative, it was, you know, the cost, the expense. His figures weren't cheap, and there was a whole lot of them. And then there was the accessories, you know, the crystals and the traps and the vehicles. And it started really going nuts. I mean, when I look around my house, my closet, my drawers, my dressers, there's Skylanders all over in different parts there. I feel like, you know, it's been like the Tribbles. If you're a Star Trek fan, you know, that's kind of what it felt like. There's just been Tribbles all over, but yet there are Skylanders, and not a bad thing, but, you know, definitely an expensive hobby and hard to keep track of. So if Skylanders ever does come back, which I hope it does at some point, maybe some sort of remastered edition with all the original games, maybe just so we can play like without the figures. I know that was the gimmick, the Toys of Life and the figures and Portal Power, but it would be great for a lot of the people out there, Portal Masters like yourself, maybe haven't played all of the Skylander figures. I mean, just alone right here, look at, you know, how many figures there are. When I was flipping through this before I started the video, and I was just like, wow, like I haven't even played with like Whirlwind in what seems like 4 or 5 years, but if there was like a digital version where I could just kind of click over and, you know, check out some figures that, you know, maybe kind of lost some of the, you know, being up front there, that would be kind of cool. So that would be my hope. Hope number one would be kind of a remastered digital version with all the figures, all the traps, all the vehicles. That would be great for, you know, PlayStation 5, Xbox One S, X, and all those. The other thing, of course, you know, would be a big hope is if there was a continuation at some point. I've actually made videos talking about this, how I had my grand idea would be to come out with something where it was a new Skylanders game that was, there's two options, maybe like an all-star thing where all the figures you already have can sort of work, and there's not a whole bunch of new figures, it's just kind of an all-star you know, all brawl out or adventure kind of thing with the existing figures. Or the other thing would be to actually have maybe a, instead of figures that come out, it's expansions that's land and pieces, you know, kind of like a puzzle or something that you can connect or something, or they sort of expand, and then you can use the figures that you already have, and you get a piece of the land that opens up a new, you know, cloud cloud city or something like that. That was a couple of my ideas, but I know right now, you know, Vicarious Vision, so as Bob BNX, everybody's basically working to assist the Call of Duty team. I don't think any of these great developers are doing anything with Skylanders that we know of. There hasn't really been any rumors, but you know, we'll see what time will tell. So thanks again to all the great Portal Masters out there, all the great developers, all the game masters, the game makers, the testers, the musicians. I mean, Hans Zimmer, the theme song for Skylanders is pretty epic. And thanks a bunch for all the memories. And I hope you guys all like this video. And of course, let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite memories and your favorite thoughts are from Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, or any of the Skylander games in general. And if you're new to CoinOpTV, I don't really make a lot of Skylanders content that much anymore because there's not a lot, but from time to time, you know, show some love, the retro love for the Skylanders. So thanks a bunch, Portal Masters, for watching. For CoinOpTV, we'll see you next time.